All right, Dr. Mike.
Well, I'm not a doctor yet.
Yeah, Dr. Jerry. I call you doctor. You know I call you doctor now because you're one of the most skilled people I've seen in terms of programming and in terms of mathematics. In fact, you know now, I teach you all the time. You know how it is. So, but thank you very much, for sitting down with me today. I know obviously you're very busy, you have lots of things to do, but thank you for taking the time to talk with me small. Let's just. So we're going to talk today primarily about your upbringing, where you've come from, and how have you got to where you are today. Because right now you are executive office, you're a member of the executive office at a very reputable financial firm. So we're just going to talk about that, and we're going to talk about a few key values, a few key concepts that I feel like you probably have mastered or you're mastering that allowed you to get to where you were today, which would also include, like your struggles, your life struggles from the past, and what you've learned from those struggles, hopefully, so that other people can pick up on those values. Because the whole point of this channel is called Mastermind, and the concept of Mastermind is basically being able to use other people's resources, use their knowledge, use everything that can help, use everything that they've used that could potentially help you, to achieve your own life goals. It could be from skills to actual physical contacts, regardless of what it is. So we're just trying to basically share knowledge, share experiences, share key skills, key values that other people can pick up on and use it to further their own ambitions or their own life goals or their own dreams. So that's the idea of the Mastermind. So Dr. Mike, once again, thank you very much.
Thank you very much for having me.
For sitting down with me. So the first question I ask you is the question I hate the most. I hate this question so much because every time I've gone to an interview, it's the first question they ask me. Tell me about yourself. So I'm going to ask you to tell me about yourself, but please, I'm 22 years old. So just tell me about yourself. Just tell me, what you're doing right now at Page, and how you finding it. How many siblings do you have? What is your upbringing like? Just tell me anything briefly about yourself.
Yeah. My name is Michael Omojola,
Yeah.
and I was born in Surulere, Lagos.
Mm-hmm.
I was brought up in Alaja, Ayobo, in Lagos State as well.
Where's Alaja?
Yeah, it's around. It's an Alimosho,
Okay.
Alimosho local government. So
Okay.
from there, I moved to the university to have my Bachelor of Technology, and I had my Masters after then.
Okay, so from Lagos all the way did your Masters.
Yeah.
How did you find doing your Masters?
How did I
find? Do you think doing a Masters is beneficial?
Yes, it has been beneficial because when I did my undergraduate, as an independent person who always believed on independent works. So I really do not mingle with people to study together.
Okay.
But when I got to the school to have my where I did my Masters, I found that it was a different thing entirely. So I had to form a study group, and I had to relinquish most of my methods to gain new ones. So having a master's degree helped me to build a new set of problem solving skills.
Okay.
So it's really helped me a lot. So I would say the value it's added to my life is problem solving skills. Yes.
Is that because you also got to work with much more people, or is it just specific because of the task, or because you had to sit down in a group with some people?
Yeah, majority of those in my class were first-class students
Wow.
in their schools.
Of course, Dr.
So,
Michael.
they they are very, very good.
Yeah.
And majority came from the background of pure mathematics. So whereas I came from the background of industrial mathematics, but I thank God I was able to scale through and to really do well.
Okay, so let's talk about math a bit, because when people hear math like me, start to shake a bit already. I'm already shaking when I'm hearing math. Math is something that, in fact, I've struggled. Me and my parents have fought so many times because of that math subject. But then here you are, first in Nigeria, right? You went for a math competition and you were first in the whole country.
Thank God about that.
Wow, that's fantastic. So why math? Where did your interest in math, where did that start from?
Well, when I finished my secondary school, most times I, by God's grace, come first in class when it comes to mathematics and testing of abilities. So I was also given the award of the best mathematician in my secondary school.
Wow.
So after then, I had to wait for like a year or more trying to teach students mathematics. So I was a secondary school teacher.
Okay.
I taught mathematics, I taught physics,
Okay.
I taught further math. So I thought that in a different school until my former school came to pick me up to teach mathematics. So I found mathematics as my second Bible.
Wow.
So whenever I'm not reading my Bible,
Yes,
I'll take new school mathematics and begin to solve problems and so.
Wow.
So it's really, really influenced my choice of decision. It really influenced my choice of what department to choose. And
so we'll talk on the Bible and your faith, briefly in a bit, because I know it's like one of your key values, and probably also what has helped you also get to the level that you are at, no doubt. So we'll get back to that, that's for sure. Now, so math, you've been a scholar since you are young. This is your college. You've been a scholar since you are young. So where did programming come into it then? Where did programming come into play? Because we know that some people can be good at math, but they have not necessarily applied that skill to programming. So one, where did your interest in programming come from, and why? Why did you think, okay, I could do this with mathematics?
Yeah, well, I think I should give a kudos to my former school,
Okay.
Federal University of Technology, Akure.
Okay.
So right from 100 level, we took Fortran, we took Python. So
these are all
and
programming
QBasic,
languages.
yes, QBasic and VBasic.
Okay.
So from there, I started developing interest. So where there was one day, that was where my interest started from. So we were in the lab, and the lab technician told us to write a program that can reverse a word. Any word you input, it would reverse that
the word.
word.
Okay.
Yes. So in like 5 minutes or thereabout, I told him I was done with mine.
You are the first one to finish, right?
Yeah. So I give a glory to God anyway. So when I called him, he shouted, said he hasn't seen a code as short as this. So, and he was really, really happy. So since then, I started developing interest for programming. So the first the system my dad gave to me, I installed MATLAB, I installed Micheal, I installed Mathematica. So from there, I started programming alongside studies. So that was where my interest started from.
So you got that interest and boom, you ran with it. Wow, that's fantastic. So most people, when their parents give them a new laptop, Netflix is the first thing they're installing. But you installed MATLAB and you installed Python, which is fantastic. Obviously, everybody has that foresight. So that's great. So that's math covered. We've also covered programming. Now, do you think it's beneficial for other people to mix both? What are the benefits of mixing math and programming in terms of, real life applied scenarios, situations? What are the benefits?
Yeah, I see a lot of mathematicians who are very good at theories, right? But when it comes to programming, they shy away. Mainly because programming is difficult to combine with mathematics.
Okay.
They're two different disciplines.
Really?
So you really need to develop a flair for programming. And my goal had always been to find an intercept between programming, industrial mathematics, and pure mathematics.
Wow.
So at the end of it, I have this goal of, getting better at each of these disciplines and making something meaningful out of them. So I would advise everyone who is a mathematician to take cognitive steps into learning programming. And programmers as well need to be very good at mathematics, because when you write codes, there are some codes that would need your knowledge of mathematics or statistics. So when you are deficit in such knowledge, you have a knowledge gap.
Yeah.
And you tend to look for or to collaborate with mathematicians
to fill that gap.
Yeah, so instead of you being one all in one.
So you have to make sure to make the program work or whatever it is. You need to collaborate with somebody who has that skill, that math skill that you lack.
Yeah, so mathematics and programming, let's say, in computer science, are very, very much related in the sense that, take for example, theorems in mathematics are called algorithms. So yes, they're called algorithms. If this proposition is true, then this result follows. So the same concept is being brought into computer science. So it's just a different case, such that you're bringing it to life when it comes to computer science. So they're doing almost the same thing, both disciplines.
So there is that link.
Yes, there is that link. There is a lot of.
So, and you would encourage anybody that is trying to do math, that is doing math or that is doing programming, to try and find that link.
Yes.
And try and use both to their advantage. To learn one or the other. Okay.
Yes.
That's great. So, I mean, programming and math, two not very easy things, but you have been able to do both of them and not just do it to be ultimately very successful at both. You have written many math papers, as I've said in the intro. Your first was...
Well, let me say several.
You've written a lot of math papers. And I've seen some of them. On the first page, I'm already seeing 25 formulas, and I'm like, what is going on this first page? Which is amazing on its own. So how have you? Before we talk about probably your background, actually, you know what? We could actually incorporate this, because I'm sure, because we spoke about this, I'm sure there's also part of what built you as a person and made you successful in this field. Obviously, you're still very young, so there's much more for you to accomplish. But right now, you've made a very good start. I think it's easy to say that you have made a very good start. So what values do you think helped you to be as diligent, as successful as you are, as good as you are in mathematics and in programming? What kind of values are we talking about? Things like, is it your relationship with Christ? Is it focus? Is it determination? Probably your upbringing. So just touch on a few points. Here.
Yeah, so I would like to say I am what I am through grace.
Mm-hmm.
You know, right from time, my mom and my dad, you know, they are Christians, and whenever they go for prayers, they take me along. And there is usually this prophecy about me that this boy would be this boy would be that. And that thing has always stuck to me. And whenever I go to read alone, you know, I see a lot of people playing football.
Yeah.
I see a lot of people, you know, doing things not meaningful to their eternal value and to their future value. I mean, in terms of academics and other things while in school.
So eternal value.
It's help. Yeah.
What is eternal value?
Yeah. I mean, when we die.
Okay. So that
we have a place to go to.
Okay.
So that has usually helped me. You know, I remember right there in Fota, at the front of Adeni Hostel, you have to pass through a forest to school as a shortcut, right?
Okay.
So I'll keep singing while in that forest. There are songs that I've memorized to sing and to inspire me. So I find joy in what the Lord has spoken about me. And even if things are not as smooth as they would be, I need to find that joy. You know, I need to pursue that goal. And I've always said, it is either you make wherever God has decided for you to be, you will always get there. But it has always been my desire that I get there with a pure heart and a clean hand.
Wow.
So it was very difficult. You know, the days where I had to take rice without stew, the days where I had to drink gari, that's what they call it in Nigeria, and so many things, you know, mixed emotions. Several times I wouldn't have enough to eat, you know, but I usually derive that joy in what the Lord has spoken about me, and to always pursue what is ahead of me in holiness, in the way that the Lord wanted me to.
Wow. So you've mentioned a few things there. Let's talk a bit about, you mentioned that sometimes you didn't have enough to eat. There's sometimes, you know, you ate Gary on his own. So when you face those situations, or actually let's actually talk about those situations. So can you give me an example, per se, of a tough time? Because I'm sure other people are also going through tough times at the moment.
I think there was a time in my 300 level, I think I finished class and I wasn't having anything to eat. So I had to go to Fota Farm. I was looking for water leaf. I was looking for water leaf. I couldn't find water leaf. So I had to cut some vegetable like plants, right? Yeah. So, but when I got to the hostel, I found that they weren't completely vegetable. So that was even when I had cooked. So that day I used salt, you know, and prepared Gary, you know, so I don't even think I had palm oil that day. So it was, I just decided to, you know, to fill my tummy, and when I did that, I took my bag, I took everything, I went to class that night. You went back to class,
So that's amazing. Of course, it's easier to laugh about it now, you know, now that you're not in that position anymore. But obviously, then it could not have been an easy thing to go through. That's why it even makes it more special, or more what's the word I'm looking for? More interesting, inspiring. That's the word. More inspiring. That's why it makes it more inspiring that you are now sitting in a boardroom in an executive office, as a member of the executive office of a massive financial firm in Nigeria. That is crazy. So what would you say to people who are in that situation? Because right now, even with the pandemic, some people would have not been in that situation before and now suddenly find themselves in those kind of situations. What helped you get through it?
Yeah, like
you talked about the religious side, right? What else? Anything alongside that?
Yes. So I remember that I usually set goals for myself.
Okay.
Take for example, before the semester starts, I would go to there is a fellowship, Deeper Life Fellowship, which I usually attend sometimes, and then take past questions from there. I'll solve past questions, before the semester begins.
Wow.
And I've written my notes before the semester begins.
What? Are you serious?
So I'll just take my notes to class. And my classmates will say, "Bro, Mike, you've already written the notes before we." So
how did you?
So my advice would be that don't give up.
Yeah.
Don't give up.
So you have to be resilient.
Yes. And whatever your hand finds to do it diligently. Do it with all thy might.
Don't give up. Whatever you want to do it diligently. So to the best of your ability.
Yes. Because there are several times, that after I finish reading in night class, I would sleep on that bench.
On the bench.
Right? So when it is morning around 5, I'll go back to the hostel and pray alongside.
Let's try and give a picture of where you used to, of that bench. Let's try and, because some people will just think, maybe a bench or this chair. Let's try and give a visual picture, visual representation of where you used to sleep. Yeah,
well, actually, I think those in Futa would understand what I'm saying, right? So in 2-in-1, there is 2-in-1A and there is 2-in-1B.
What's
2-in-1?
2-in-1A,
okay. And there is 2-in-1B.
1A is a room.
Lecture theaters,
okay,
right?
Lecture hall, okay.
Yeah, so I usually use 2-in-1B. So and those chairs are joined together by an iron, there is, so you can, it's either you can shift you can tilt the chair forward and backwards, so you just sit on that and someone else takes another one, or it is just barely wood, right?
Okay.
So
wood.
Yeah. So and you have something to write upon.
Wow.
So after, I'll take my cover with me
to the lecture hall.
Yeah, that night. So I take my lamp as well.
Yes.
Take my lamp as well. So I put my lamp on the table. I'll read. So when I'm tired, I'll sleep. Put everything inside my bag and then put my head on the bag and then sleep. So when it's morning, I would prepare to go to class, and then along the way, I begin to pray and to sing, because I like singing a lot.
Like singing. I know you're a tenor, right? In your choir.
Yeah.
Wow. So why were you sleeping in the lecture hall? Why not in an accommodation?
Yeah. Well, I think there were several things ahead of me, and my GP, let me say my CGPA. I needed to maintain my CGPA and then improve.
For people that don't know what the CGPA is, what is that? Like a result?
Yeah, like cumulative GPA. So that's the grade, the cumulative grade points.
So you were doing all this because you were so determined to keep up your score, or to improve on your score, right?
Well, yeah.
That's a skill. That is the next level kind of determination. So clearly, you are very determined, and very focused. Did you find that you had to sacrifice some things I'm assuming probably answer is probably yes. So
Yes. I think my mom knows about this and my dad. I think they can count how many times I went home during my undergraduate. So because I usually don't go home.
You don't go home at all because you want to study.
Yeah, I think I've been home like twice or thrice.
In your whole 4 years,
Five.
Five.
Yeah, so
Oh my word.
so I think
Wow.
2 to 4 times since.
Yeah.
So what I usually did was I would stay behind. When others have gone home, I'll take past questions, bind them. I'll buy this A4 paper, a whole room, and then I'll bind them together and then solve questions because back then our lecturers repeat questions.
They repeat the questions.
so they repeat questions, and some of them do not repeat questions. So what I would do, you have to study each lecturer. Which one of them repeats questions and which one of them. So there's some lecturers I wouldn't even bother to solve questions. I might just even solve like 1 or 2 years.
Yeah.
But there are some lecturers I'll solve like 4, 5 years
because you know that it's
So-
a sharp guy. Okay, that's great. So you definitely had, so you sacrificed your relationship, not relationship, but the amount of times you saw your parents. And obviously that cannot be an easy thing to sacrifice. They're your parents, both your parents. Nobody in the world loves you more than your parents. But you were so determined to improve your GPA, or not even improve, to maintain, which is fantastic on its own. Because I'm sure it was really high.
Well, improve and to maintain, because
to improve and maintain your CGPA, and you were successful, right? Number 1 in Nigeria for that competition. So actually, no, that's fantastic. Let's just acknowledge that not many people have that kind of willpower to sacrifice twice or 3 times in 5 years. Wow, my parents would be crying. I'm like, this guy doesn't love me anymore. You know what I'm saying? So
I think they understood.
They understood, right?
Well,
they understood.
yes.
And obviously, it's paying off. It's paying off. I'm sure they've also seen the vision as well. Like you had seen the vision. You knew where you wanted to go, and you've done whatever you could to get to where you wanted to go. All right, so we're just going to talk about a few key concepts. We've already talked about determination. We've talked about focus. We've talked about more or less willpower. These are all the things I'm taking from what you said to me so far already. And then talk about sacrifice. You would have to sacrifice some things to get to where you're going, especially if you're a goal-driven person like yourself. So I know that you've also had to work for free, right? I read a post on LinkedIn not too long ago, and someone was saying, "Oh, only people that can work for free are those that are privileged, because if they don't get paid, they still have their family to fall back on, or they have money to fall back on, so they still have a very comfortable lifestyle." But clearly that was not your case. But you still chose to work for free. So what was the value? What value did you see in working for free then? And how has that benefited you now? And also tell us about your experience, where you worked, why you worked for free, and all that story.
I think it all started from when I did my industrial training. I did my industrial training in my school on programming.
So industrial training is a year, like a placement year, a year internship, right?
It's half a year, 6 months.
And you do it in between university or right after you finish?
In between university.
In between which levels?
So 400 level.
400 level and 500 level.
Yeah, so second semester 400 level.
Okay, so I tend to know that as a placement year or year in industry. That's what we call it. So just so everybody knows. So sorry, carry on.
Yeah, so I did that for free, and while I was doing that, I was running at my own expense, but I found out that several people started coming to me to program for them.
Wow.
And I was doing that for free. Final year students, because I was in 400 level, final year students would come to me, master students would come to me, and I think 1 or 2 PhD students came to me then. I think one came to me then, and then the other came in 500 level. So it was really, really challenging, because I had several people who would advise me and say, you have virtually nothing to eat and you're struggling. Why would you be working for free?
Yeah.
But my own values are based on religious values,
Okay.
which I think I should help people. I should provide as much as I have been provided for. So some people would show gratitude, they force themselves to. Just stay. So,
yeah.
but if I do something for you, I wouldn't want to receive anything as an enumeration. So, but then I observed something. If I work for people for free, they tend to give their all to me.
Wow.
So, for example, if I work with a professor for free or a doctor for free, if he has some advantageous, substance or any kind of thing to do for me in return, he does that in a multiple fold. So let's take, for example, if I work with someone who programs, he has some other kind of programs, codes written, and I do mine out of my own volition and out of generosity, because he is currently deficit at that point, at that area. So he would want to pay me back because he knows I wouldn't collect money from him. So he would like to pay me back by instilling in me and then impacting back in form of kind.
Yeah.
So it releases a lot of things that are not available to a normal student.
Okay.
I'm not saying questions, being private to questions or illegal things. So things like code, things like respect, and so I find joy in those things.
Okay.
And as time went on, people started knowing me. I can remember the time where I had to sleep in the laboratory for almost 3 months.
Wow.
My school laboratory, just to work for someone, and as well to also build up myself in terms of programming. And then as well, I was also doing research with an international author. So I find joy in helping people, and that was one of the reasons why I didn't find them as a disadvantage. They really, really helped me, because right now, if I want to solve problems, all I do is go back to my repositories or those things I had before, because I know that I would have solved a similar problem before.
And those things, that what's in your repository was given to you by these people that you did work for free for.
Yeah.
Wow, that's fantastic. So basically, you work for free and then you also get back in kind, a lot of favors, a lot of other benefits apart from a pay.
Yeah, even
apart from money.
Yes, even from others, even from other people that I did not even work for.
Just because they've seen you, working for free.
Yeah.
Plus the situation you are in.
Yes.
You do not have, a mansion that even if you work for free, you just enter your Land Cruiser and go to your mansion and go and sleep. It was not like that for you.
It was not.
It was definitely very different, but you still did it. So it is possible.
Yes.
It's possible to do it.
Yes.
What motivated you? What kept you going during those kind of periods?
Yeah, well, actually, I had a lot of discouragements from people, even from lecturers.
Are you serious?
And even from my colleagues, though they were not, I wouldn't count them as, I wouldn't say it was bad for them to have advised me, because they wanted my welfare, because they knew the kind of position I was and how I was in their need of substance and a lot of things. But then that was my core value. That was my decision to keep helping people. I really did not know the reason why I was doing that.
Yeah.
I just know it will count for me in the future.
For something. Okay.
Yes. So I just kept doing it, and it's really, really paying.
It's paying off even till
paying
today,
off,
right?
yes,
It's paying off
yes,
till
yes,
today.
yes.
All right, Dr. Mike. So you told us about working for free and the effects or the benefits. You're still feeling the benefits today. You did that regardless of your situation. It was not great for you. It was not perfect for you. You are even saying that other lecturers or other people are telling you, are discouraging you, saying, how can you be doing this? You know, you are worth so much, blah, 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 and you're still giving your service out for free and all that kind of stuff. So thank you for sharing that. That's great. So that means what I'm taking from that now is that it's important. If you need it, you feel like you know where you're trying to be, you're trying to get to, working for free should not be a problem.
Yes,
right?
yes. Like internship,
Yes.
and all of those.
As long as it helps you achieve the
Freelance,
goals
yes.
that you're trying to get to.
Yes.
Now, speaking of that working for free, you also mentioned about how you are willing to help people, also for free. I've been part of this program. It's called 100 Black Interns in the UK. I have to shout them out. And one of the founders always says this thing: lift as you climb. Clearly, as you're working for free, you're also lifting as you climb. That means the whole concept is that as you are getting better, as you are improving your skills, as you are becoming more successful, you're not doing it on your own. You're also taking somebody that's with you. You're trying to help as much as you can. You're trying to give yourself people as much as you can so that we all, grow together. I got a sense of that in what you said about, working for free and doing things for people. People even offering to give you money and you're like, no, don't worry, I'm fine, that kind of thing. So that's great. And I also think it's a massive thing for people to know and for people to understand, especially in our culture and in the way we are in this country. Sometimes you can be too independent. Lift as you climb. Everybody can win. I don't see why not. You don't need to stab someone on the back, which is great. So I'm very happy to hear that. And I think other people should try and put that into their mindset and how they live their lives, to be honest. So let's move on from working for free and go to another key concept that I think is valuable for people, especially young people, and is mentorship, right? How have you had a mentor, one, and how important, if you have had a mentor, do you think that relationship with the mentor has been for you in terms of your goals and in terms of where you are today?
Yeah, I remember when I first gained admission, I had nowhere to stay. There was this person I heard of who happened to have stayed close to my area. So by then he was a lecturer at FUTA, so I went to stay with him. And fortunately for me, he had his friend as well. Both of them are lecturers. So both of them were lecturers in mathematics. And I also gained admission into mathematics. So they really played a lot of role mentoring me.
Okay.
One of them, Mr. Adeshino, then now a doctor. The other one, Mr. Sampson, now a doctor. And I also remember someone like Dr. Afolabi, by then Mr. Afolabi, but now a doctor. I also remember Mr. Daudu, who gave me his personal laptop.
Wow.
Gave me his personal laptop, which was something very, very important to him.
Not many people.
I cannot still quantify what he did. He mentored me. People like Dr. Olatunji, my my undergraduate supervisor, Professor Adegbe. So, and I also remember mentors like Professor Emra Kilik in Turkey, and Professor S.N. Chateau in Austin P. State University, USA. So these people, as well, like Dr. Usman, my former co-supervisor, and my supervisor, Professor Chidumi.
So
all of these people have, and I would not do it not to mention Dr. Yakini. So all of these people really played a great impact, had a great impact in my mentorship. So I was subordinate, I was obedient and submissive to them, to listen to whatever they wanted to say.
So
Most times I would look like a fool, just to get their own insight, and it was really helpful. It was really helpful for me,
Okay.
It really
paid off. So listening, it doesn't matter how you look.
Yes,
you understood that, okay, these guys, they have much more knowledge than I do.
Yes.
So it's very important to listen to them.
Yes.
And I believe that's also the main idea of mentorship, right?
Yes.
You are getting direct information from people who have been there and who have done that.
Yes.
Who definitely know much more than you do.
Yes.
So having a mentor, in fact, should be one of your top priorities as a young person.
Yes.
To tap into information and knowledge from people who have already been there, done that. In fact, that's the entire concept of the mastermind. To use other people's resources, like that person's laptop, like your professor's laptop, and where you stayed, one of your professor, right, one of your mentors, places. So it's very, very important, and it's very, very key. And I would also advise, alongside what you said, to other people to try and find a mentor. But then how did you find these mentors? How did you find this mentor? How would you advise anybody to go about finding a mentor?
Yeah, some mentors, for example, those that I stayed with when I was in undergraduate, it wasn't even my own decision to find them. I think I found them through a friend.
Through other people.
Yeah. So, but some might be difficult to reach when it comes to academic mentorship, right? So someone like Professor Jato, I got to know him when I started working for free, when I was working with someone.
Boom. Another benefit of working for free.
Yeah. So I helped this person to review his paper, and so we got to a point where we got stuck. I told him to contact that professor to explain some concepts to him. So it was after that time that I also contacted him, and we started exchanging messages. So the same way, I think the other person, I contacted him when I got stuck on a problem, that I was battling with. So at the end of the day, I was able to solve that problem myself by God's grace. So, but he was very, very encouraging. He told me if I get to solve that problem, I should get in touch with him, and it was really, really helpful. So sometimes you have to look for them, and sometimes you find
them, they come to you probably by chance or through somebody that you know,
or
other kind of things.
Myself, I believe in divine placement, so sometimes it can be divine.
It can be divine. So there's also this thing about mentorship where it also has to be more or less a two-way thing. And by that, I mean, you don't just want to be asking for things from people all the time. You also want to give back. People must also see value in you. And I think that's what happened in your case, where you didn't find them, where they found you because they saw, okay, this guy is smart. This guy knows what he's doing. This guy is determined. This guy is focused. So I believe that was the value you brought to that proposition. But is there anything else? Do you agree that, you can't just be asking all the time, if it's mentor, blah, blah, blah. You also have to give something back to the mentor, the person who has taken the time to mentor you.
Yeah, yes, that's very, very true. For instance, in the case of research, let me take research as an example. I would allow these people give me their insights. What they feel would work, but I will do the write-up myself.
Okay.
So what I do in return is to save their time and to work for them in return.
Okay.
And what I do is I wouldn't make myself as the first author. I would make them the first author.
Okay.
So, which is usually very encouraging to them. And by doing that, they tend to give more,
even more
to
stuff.
me.
So they're more willing to help you out, to mentor you, because they're also seeing the value that you are adding to them.
Yes.
And I think that's also a great way to ensure you keep a good relationship with your mentor.
Yes.
When they see value, they see potential, your mentor would want to mentor you. They see the people can just, they can see, people can see where your head is at quite early on, usually when they first meet you. And a mentor tends to be more experienced, so they even have much more experience to know what you're about. So it's also very important, as we've said, to add value back to them, to add value to your mentors. Okay, Dr. Mike, thank you so much. We're just going to start to round up a bit.
Okay.
I already learned a lot from you already. I know there's a lot that other people will be able to definitely take away from our brief conversation. So to round off, I'll just ask you maybe 2-3 more questions. The first one is, what advice, would you give to anybody who is studying math right now, or programming, or either or both, actually, at probably university level as a student? What advice, what career path do you think they could take? Because math, you need probably to be resilient. You need to have a certain amount of focus to do the subject and to excel at the subject. So what kind of advice will you give them?
Yeah, back then when we were in school, the kind of orientation we had was not, showing us a lot of examples about how mathematics can be applied. The advantages of mathematics. Mathematics is in 3 phases. We have statistics, we have applied mathematics, we have pure mathematics. So for those in applied mathematics, I would really, really want them to be very good at programming, because they would do the applications of mathematics, bringing mathematics into the real world.
Okay.
Now, those in pure mathematics, I would also want them to be very good at programming, because when you prove a theorem, you would want to bring that theorem into reality by programming. So it's very, very good for you to have the knowledge of programming. And as well, for someone in statistics, there are lots of advantages and applications of statistics all around. So it's very, very good. So that means, as a student, you shouldn't just wait and then you soak in all that your lecturer teaches you. I'm not saying it's bad, but then you have to get and source for knowledge different from what you have been taught. So you have to be good at programming, take courses on communication, try to build your leadership skills, try to become a good person, become a better self of yourself, a better version of yourself. Try to do all it takes to become what you ought to be. And myself, there is this decision I had made while I was in school. I remember I made a decision at the front of tennis court. I said, "Oh Lord, if you would help me, I would show people about you, and He really did. So I would advise people to know the Lord, accept Jesus as a personal and Savior. And because that was what helped me.
What definitely helped you.
Yeah, so I would really, really advise them as well to be focused, eschew evil, flee away from evil, flee from evil, pursue that which is right. Do not be involved in malpractices, in occultism, in all of these evil devices and vices all around. Stay clear from all of those things. Yeah, you just say stay focused. because there is light at the end of the tunnel.
Yeah. Okay, that's great. That's great. Very inspiring. Definitely. One more question. Actually, one more question. Yes, I'll let you go. One more question I have is, so if you didn't do programming or you didn't do math, actually, no, let's focus on programming. Let's say you didn't study math or you didn't study programming in school. How can someone begin to learn like myself? You know, we've been working on a project together where I've had to learn programming alongside a master like you.
You're very, very good.
How would someone, you know, what advice would you give somebody that's trying to start programming for the first time? You know, what advice should I give them?
Yeah, I would advise that you see programming as a tool to have your leisure with, right? Something you can play with, something that is very, very lucrative, something that can earn you a fortune in future. And may I tell you that programmers usually accord a lot of respect. You know, they usually gain a lot of respect from people, because when people know that you're a programmer and you can solve problems, they tend to accord a lot of respect to you because they know you can solve problems. So I would advise that students should take their time to learn from scratch. There are times where you get hooked up while programming. Go online, you know, you could Google that line. Okay, what is the, just copy the error that you have, paste online. Someone must have been in a similar shoe. Someone must have asked that same question. So it could be in Stack Overflow, it could be Math Stack Exchange, any way it could be. So just ask questions and you see people, professionals who would answer your questions, even if no one has asked those questions before. Wow. Yes. So it's very, very good to build up oneself. You know, take them one after the other, try to understand each line of code and try to see a way to add more to your knowledge. Try to shift your mentality from being one-sided, you know, my course is the best. You do not know that courses are interwoven. You know, there are several things that you need to learn from another course, and then you need to bring into your own profession, and that will make you stand out.
Okay, so basically take a step back and look at the wider picture than just your course.
Yes.
And then programming obviously is part of the wider picture, which is a skill that is very valuable. Not just now. In fact, I think we're already in that age, but also down the line in the future. In terms of programming. Well, Dr. Mike.
I'm not a doctor yet.
No, thank you so much. Thank you so very much for literally spending this time with me. It's been almost an hour. I didn't even think we would spend this long on this conversation. There's a lot for people to learn and unpack from the conversation that we just had, from your experiences, and it's extremely commendable. And in fact, it's truly inspiring. I keep on saying inspiring, but it really is, you know, from where you came from to where you are today. And I know that you're still learning. Something I know from working with you is that learning is in fact your number one, or one of your top priorities, that you keep on learning even though you have finished the school. And I think that's also another very key concept, because we never stop learning. Life, you're always learning. Like the people I listen to, like for example the Warren Buffett and the Ray Dalios, they always say the same thing. You always keep learning, keep reading, keep evolving, because the world is always changing, and clearly you always you're still learning. So once again, thank you very much for sitting down with me. I know you have done much more with your time, but you chose to sit down with me. So thank you very much. I appreciate it.
I'm very much,
and I'm sure that the people that watch this as well would also appreciate it.
Thank you too. Thank you very much for having me.
It was a pleasure.
Thank you.
Thank you, man. Thank you.